Hello everyone, this is Marianne from Revealing Light Tarot. I'm back again and feeling pretty good actually. I went out for dinner last night and had a very relaxing evening. I had my usual one glass of Sauvignon Blanc and really enjoyed the evening. Thank you for all your comments on that reading that I did. It would have been 2 days ago. I sat on it for 24 odd hours, wondering should I post it, because I was quite subjective, and I don't really believe that when you've got that emotional overlay, But then I thought, well, hang on a minute. This is all part of the process. It's all part of the confrontation that Trump and people like Trump are bringing out in us. It's all part of the point globally that we're all at. Because this is not a US restricted to the US. The fact that I had a Trump supporter in Australia, and in fact every day in various discourse, mainly social discourse, I see the same kind of views come forward as what I see in America. So this is, I think, a global lesson for us all. I think it's forcing us to have a look at what's inside us, and where it's really forcing us to confront and recognise our own values. And I think it's forcing us to put our own boundaries down. So we don't normally do that unless our boundaries are challenged. And if they're not challenged, we kind of, we're driving along quite merrily and we're possibly complacent. And, complacency is what caused, I think, this situation to begin with. The other aspect is, I think, we can go on and we can be compassionate, I think, also, and we need to listen to all viewpoints. I think that's very important because that's the foundation of democracy. So we can't hate down someone just because they do not agree with our point of view. So I was proud and pleased that I actually listened to this person, but then I paid for it when I got home, because I thought, no, actually my boundary is this. My boundary is that where someone is not conducting themselves in a civilized way, and someone who's not willing to listen to me, and it's not a two-way street, then I'm sorry, but I would rather spend my time talking to those people who are more interested in an exchange rather than a battle and knocking someone down. And I'm on my soapbox again, so I'll make it quick. I just wanted to kind of finish this off so I can get on with other things. So my boundary is this. My boundary is if someone is simply arguing with me to beat me, to win, to push themselves forward, then really they'll need to go and talk to someone else. So I learned something about my boundaries the other day with this particular person, and that is I don't owe anybody the time to be, a victim, really. If people don't agree with me and they're not willing to have that civilised two-way exchange, then on your bike and on your way. All right, so that's where I came out with all of that. But thank you for all your comments. And as I said, I enjoyed a lovely dinner out last night. Now back to our focus, okay? Because we want to kind of understand. We want to do our best to understand some of the process that is actually happening in the ascendancy and descendancy of Donald Trump, and look at the why. And of course, various actors will come into this. If we're going to stand back and take an observational point of view for just a minute, various people will come in and out, various motivations will be clear to us or become clear to us, and of course we start to learn, which is the purpose of all of this, to really crystallise our own values, put our boundaries in the sand, while not taking our eye off our responsibility to democracy. So with that, let's get on to William Barr, because I've had viewers' requests to read in depth on him. The short span that I gave him revealed that he is a scholar of the law. He's a stickler for the law. However, he's also a Republican. So I think my last reading, I felt that he wouldn't interfere with the Mueller investigation. However, when it came to the final report, he might put a Republican spin on it. Now, I've watched the Senate hearing as much as I can, and they were the conclusions that I logically came to watching that. Now, how far he would go with really trying to present things in a more positive light, or which is keeping back information and saying it's confidential, it's classified, to release it would undermine America's national security. Well, there's a couple of things there. Everything Donald Trump has done has undermined America's national security, because he's been really in an alleged conspiratorial situation here. So he's been allowed to do that for 2 years. So I have to wonder about what William Barr might hold back. The other thing is, if there was potentially evidence that this was more widespread than Trump and went across the Republican parties, they would have to start to think about what that would do to potentially sitting members in Congress. So I guess there are some areas there where national security would come in, but really, what's Mueller going to come forward with? This is the thing. It's going to be a bombshell, is what it's going to be. But do I actually think Barr will go in over the top and try and suppress this and hide this? Not entirely, no. He will not he's actually a friend of Mueller's, and also Rosenstein as well. And as I said, he's a stickler for the law. He's got a huge ego, and it is around his expertise and the elder statesman of the law. So he's not going to compromise that, because he'd be going against his own ego. However, when it comes to the final report, now we already know Republicans have tried to hide and bury things in relation to the congressional investigation headed by Devin Nunes. The other impression I got is this. When Barr wrote those op-eds, he was doing so in a climate where Trump's mandate in getting elected, albeit in the way that he did, was not in question up until the midterms. Post-midterms, you had a majority of public come forward and vote an alternative into Trump to try and keep a check and balance on him. So the Democrats now hold power. So Barr would be cognizant of that, and he would be aware of everything that entails. So there is an added layer of accountability on him, and I saw that coming through today. He might have had freedom to write those op-eds in the past. He might have been challenging the status quo because he's a Republican. However, it is a different ball game now that he may be confirmed as Attorney General. And the balance, the midterm result was really a reeling indictment against Donald Trump and the way Donald Trump is trying to conduct himself. So that's a long introduction, but they were the intuitive impressions I got as I watched William Barr. I'm actually going to do a Celtic Cross now on him. And on the key question, will he try to interfere with the Mueller investigation or report in any way? And we'll see how that comes out. I'll bring the laptop down. Okay, so William Barr, stickler for the law there, scholar, I won't say stickler, a scholar of the law, and his ego's pretty much tied up in that as well. All right, will William Barr, if confirmed as the Attorney General, try and interfere in the Mueller investigation or report. Well, in Mueller bringing forward evidence of conspiracy, obstruction of justice, Trump's conspiracies with the US, will William Barr try and interfere in that Mueller investigation or reporting in any way that may not be in the best interests of America? William Barr try and interfere in the Mueller investigation and reporting in any way that is not in the best interests of America and in the interests of President Trump. Okay, so straight away we've got the world. So really we've got here endings and beginnings, and this is the situation at this time. It is, as I felt for a long time, that we are at a point in Trump's presidency where this is the downward spiral. This is the end of Trump's presidency. We're in the closing chapter here. So this is also the magnitude of the Mueller investigation. It is not just a small matter. It is the eyes of the Americans, the eyes of the world are upon Barr. So for him to do anything to interfere would be extremely difficult at this stage, particularly heading into, if you want to just reduce it to purely political strategy, you're coming up to 2020 election. The majority of the public want Mueller to finish his work, and if he were to interfere in any way, that would go against Republican re-election chances. Okay, so endings and new beginnings are coming forward as the really the signifier card in this reading in relation to Mueller's report, and Mueller's investigation and report. What's crossing him? Okay, what's crossing the situation here is the Queen of Pentacles. Now that's a resourceful person. It's also a skilled person, but it's also in relation to in relation to finances and money. So that's what's crossing him: potentially moneyed interests, and the resourcefulness, or when I say resourcefulness, the craftiness, if you like, of Donald Trump. This card has a peacock in it, which is quite interesting, because some have said that the peacocks are bad luck. So I really do feel that really the magnitude of the Mueller investigation, which was my initial thought, is just such. It's so. I guess public, it's so important that he would find it difficult to do anything to interfere in any way. However, we've got this card here of the resourcefulness of money talks. Now that's crossing. That's not to say it will happen, it's just saying that will be the challenge in this situation. And then we've got the foundation. Okay, so we've got money here again, and we've got money news. So the foundation of this, is, will he interfere in any way with the reporting or the investigation? The foundation here is that within that report, there is going to be quite substantial I guess news around money changing hands. Okay, it's going to be a very high focus. Now, the page of Pentacles has come forward again in other readings, and I really do feel it's an important aspect, that the report is actually going to be a communication piece, and it's going to actually bring forward multiple, when you look at what has occurred when the sentencing memos have been released by Mueller, of course they've been the foundation of much of the news cycle for weeks and weeks and weeks. And potentially months. And I really do feel that this is the report that will carry some sort of, I guess, findings around potentially money that has changed hands. That seems to be the focus here. It's also a card of family money as well. And so I think that we're going to see substantial parts of the report to do with the Trump organisation and the Trump businesses. In the past, we've got the King of Cups, and I really do think that this is Mueller himself. This is the benevolent parent here, the benevolent ruler that has come forward with understanding of what needs to be done. Now, one of the things that Barr said about Bob Mueller is that he is extremely competent, fair-minded, knows exactly what he needs to do. Barr also said he would be very surprised if Mueller put a wrong foot anywhere because he is just so competent. So I didn't detect Barr making that up just to get appointed. I actually did detect a long history. Now, if you remember, Barr, Mueller, both Republicans, both serving under George Bush Jr., they go way back, and I really didn't detect any double meaning or anything untoward in what Barr was saying about Mueller. I think he was actually quite fair dinkum, as we say in Australia, just so you can see the reading. And now what we're looking at here is particularly what's happening at the moment. Now, the Nine of Cups is often my trump card. It is this material abundance. But the other aspect of this card is things, I guess, getting what people need. It's almost like the miracle card. It's the yes card. It did, in relation to this reading, I asked, will he interfere in any way? I don't think it's a yes in this situation, but I do think it's actually, I think potentially we're going to get what we want and what we need out of this Mueller investigation and reporting. So in this situation, I think it's a positive omen in relation to the question that I've asked. At the moment, this is in the present position. At the moment, what that is saying is Mueller is delivering everything that he needs to deliver. So it's a yes in that sense. We'll wait for our outcome cards to determine whether or not he will interfere. Now, in the future, we've got... now, I'm not a fan of this card. This is the Seven of Cups. And the Seven of Cups comes forward in relation to many, many choices, commitments, potential issues, and potentially an abuse of some kind. So what are we talking about here? Okay, what are we talking about here? An abuse of some kind. Okay, so I think what this is the near future. I think what this card is saying is that Barr came forward, because he was particularly caught the eye of the president. There would have been Republican forces on him as well, recommendations, conversations in back rooms. Barr wrote that op-ed, and I did see him trying to wriggle out of it. I didn't have the facts. It was based on the law. It was based on what could happen down the track if we set precedences. Very clever legal arguments that he used to get out of why he wrote that op-ed. He fell back on his expertise in the law and his, because he has this expertise, a divine right to be a commentator and devil's advocate. However, in 2017, up until the midterms, we had a different scenario. We had Trump really having almost unfettered power. supported by the Republicans, holding the Republicans' feet to the flames. If you don't support me, I won't endorse you. You will lose your seat, as indeed Flake did, and the other senior senator, Bob Corker. So those that went against him paid the price. Now, enter Barr, who was swirling around there. Trump's been wanting to get rid of Sessions for a long, long time. He knew he was going to do that. It was just a question of timing. Didn't want to do it before the midterms in case that influenced the vote against him. So all this was in the wind, has been in the wind for a very long time. I would suspect that Barr at that time in 2017 and 18 was cozying up in some way. He was asked to potentially be a legal counsel for the president. I suspect he was cozying up to Trump and the Republicans when they had that unfettered power. So that makes this process of bringing him forward essentially by way of history. There is this need now for the smokescreen and the almost putting forward some sort of illusion. So will that illusion transfer into the longer term, trying to interfere with Mueller in any way? My intuition was that it is a different ballgame for Barr and the Republicans at this time, and simply that's by virtue of the midterms and by virtue of what is actually in Mueller's investigation, what evidence he's got. I think the period of the last 3 months has really changed things completely. As I said, I feel that we're on the closing stages of the Trump presidency. He's desperate. This is his desperate act to try and really hold on to power, flex his muscles, and show I am still in charge. So there could well be some illusions around the motivation for getting Barr into the AG seat. That's what I'm seeing here. Never underestimate the Republicans, as we found out with Kavanaugh. Okay, so now here we've got the situation itself, and we've got here the King of Swords. Of course, this is Mueller. Mueller coming forward with his evidence, with the sum total of his investigation. He's writing his report. I think I read somewhere where there could well be drafts available. Here is Mueller. This is the I think the trump card, if you like, if I can use that expression. There are two significant cards here that are jumping out for me. The World, Endings and Beginnings, and Mueller with his sword. I did do a pull, I think it was in the reading a couple of days ago, where Mueller emerged at the end as the King of Swords, and he actually had cut off Trump's head, or that was what I said at the time. He's quite powerful, the King of Swords. He wields quite a lot of influence for the future. So the environment around Mueller, okay, and this is interesting because it's the Page of Wands. Now, pages, as I said, they're not the overtly powerful card, but this is coming forward as, new ideas and new projects. So new inspirations, new ways of, I think the process of trying to undermine the Mueller investigation report never stops. I think it's a continual thing. I think it is the subject of conversations in the White House, between the White House and the Republican senators, between the White House, Donald Trump and his donor base. It's a continual, strategy to see how they can undermine things, how they can stop things. Donald Trump's legal counsel, particularly, and the Mueller investigation team. How can they undermine? What spanner can they throw in the works? What barrier can they throw up to try and stop things? But if you compare this card here, which is the Mueller card, this Mueller is far more powerful than anything that is likely to come forward. And really, if you look at the money trail here, which is the foundation of the reading, what money has changed hands, what loans and debts have been given, again, these are pages which really, when we think about it, the King of Swords, the King of Truth, bringing the truth forward, evidence, hard evidence, and potential prosecutions after that. Mueller has far greater power in this situation. That's what these cards are telling me. When I look at hopes and fears, okay, we've got the Five of Cups here, and the Five of Cups comes forward as really loss and grief, and abandonment, and really moving away, in a significant fashion. So the hopes, I guess, is that this will be what will occur for Trump, that the Mueller investigation and report will mean loss for him, will actually take the presidency, remove him from the presidency. The fear is also this for the Republicans, and indeed, I guess, for Trump himself. But I think here I'm feeling the Republicans have, those Republican senators have a lot of sway in this situation. There at the moment, and this is a separate reading, but at the moment I feel there is some tension between the Republican senators and Trump. And the tension is around their power and Trump's ability to overstep his power and usurp the power of Congress. I think those Republican senators who have been there for a long, long time, I saw shades of that in the hearing today, or yesterday, whenever I watched it today. I saw those Republican senators trying to shore up their own power. They, as I said, this is a pattern for them, this power that they've had, this congressional power. And it would even, it's tied up with their egos as well, and everything that they represent, their status in their own states, their status with their own particular donors, their individual power, and how they wield that individual power. I saw that as, I got a collective view of that with the Republican senators in the Barr hearing. And I do detect some tension now between Trump and these Republican senators. And really what it's based upon is that Trump lost. The midterms was an indictment of Trump's presidency, and they don't want to go down with a sinking ship. So they're not going to give an inch of their power away to Donald Trump. And this is what I see in this card. I see this being the fear of the Republicans that if Barr were to interfere in any way, how would that rebound on them? They are not going to go out on an ever-increasing limb, fragile limb, for a president who is going down, and they don't want to be dragged down with him. So that's an interesting card that came forward there. Now we'll just have a look at the final outcome in relation to the question. We asked about will he interfere. So I've got the Three of Wands here, and I've got teamwork, I've got commerce, and I've got expansion. At the end of the day, Mueller will be allowed to do his work. Why will he be allowed to do his work? Because America does not, the powers that be, do not want the economy, their longer-term geopolitical future or power, I guess, capacity. They don't want to lose, okay? So these are the trading ships here behind. Okay, these are the America's position in the world. So Barr will do the Republican senators' bidding before he will do Trump's. And I think this is because of the way that Trump has boxed himself in now. This is entirely a practical card in a way, but it is a card about power, and it is about the future. And so Barr will let Mueller finish his work, as he said under oath in the Congress. He most likely will not be able to. That light's just shining on that. That's even worse. He most likely would not be able to interfere to any great extent in the Mueller report. However, I have a feeling that he will be tied up with those Republican senators. He's smart. He's going to read the wind. He's already read the wind. There's a huge change between William Barr in 2017 and William Barr now post midterms. And I do think that he will let Bob Mueller finish what he has to do, and it will be, the underlying reason will be because it will be in the best interests of Americans' economy, America's influence, everything that makes the world go round in relation to America as a dominant global leader, including the financial interests of its big business. So that's really, I think, what's going to happen. It's not an altruistic reason that Barr's going to let Mueller go. It's simply because not simply. It's because he needs to let Mueller go because there's too much evidence there. And I think, again, what I'm seeing in this is Donald Trump's downfall. I really do feel that it is the major arcana, the signifying card in this reading. This is the ending of the Trump presidency in one way or another, and new beginnings. Now, for a separate reading, if we've got this focus on business and commerce and expansion, if we've got all of that still coming forward, which is nothing new, what will be the reforms post-Trump? Well, I'll leave that for another reading. So I'm going to close that down here. I hope you enjoyed that reading. And again, thank you. Look, honestly, I really do. I think it's wonderful, the commentary that comes forward and the information that comes forward in the commentary. So thank you for taking the time to put that out there. It's good work. It's good work on behalf of everything, really. So I'll close this down. One of the things I do want to read on, and I probably need to get it today before the vote on May's government. I would like to look at Brexit. So I might close this down, and we might do that reading just to have a look at what might be likely to happen over in the UK in the next 24, 48 hours. So thank you again, and I look forward to reading all your comments. Thank you.